The Global Caregivers Network presents the first annual Global Male Caregivers Summit coming your way April 13th, 2024, beginning at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Register on Eventbrite to hear from the most amazing and powerfully inspiring men as they share caregiving from the male perspective. Grab your ticket today and we'll see you there.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Cheryl. Okay. It's an honor to be here with you and the other speakers today. And if you had told me about 20 years ago what was going to transpire with my mom, what was going to happen with her, I'd say you're crazy. You couldn't make up the scenario. I think there's going to be some similar stories to this. In my case, as Cheryl mentioned, my mom lost her home in Katrina. But before that, we are seeing some concerning signs. Agitation, confusion, memory loss, paranoia, not taking care of the house, not taking care of the finances. And this was my first experience with denial in this journey with my mom that, well, maybe she's just getting older. She's stressed, right? She was in the caregiver role for my late stepfather. And we thought that if he passed away or went into a care facility himself, would she bounce back? We never got that opportunity because, as you mentioned, in August 2005, she lost her home to Hurricane Katrina, completely swept away down to the foundation. Needless to say, even though she had evacuated and she was safe, seeing her home gone, the trauma that exacerbated, accelerated whatever was happening with her. We found out later it was Alzheimer's. She went with other family members for a couple of years on the East Coast. I'll tell a quick story which illustrates the vividness, the devastation that Alzheimer's does to people. Shortly after the storm, she's with stepfamily in North Carolina, and she was trying to exit seek. She was trying to escape. I won't get into the reasons why, other than her illness. And fortunately, another family member got her on the phone and says, "Sheila, my mom's name. If you don't get back in that house, you may end up somewhere you don't want to be." It's insinuating, institutionalized. I got on the first available plane to North Carolina, which I was planning on going anyway. And she was very glad to see me when I arrived. And I said, "Mom," and this is a little bit of, I like to use the word, not therapeutic lying, but compassionate deception. I said, "Mom, tomorrow we're going to go see a new doctor." We were going to the ER. I was going to get her checked in and observed. I was in that ER with her for about 10 hours, mostly in a conference room. My mother's, the strain in her face, the anger, the fear was just, I barely recognized her. It was the hardest emotional night of my life. Fortunately, got her admitted. She got on some medication. Next morning, I get off the elevator and she says, "There you are. There's my savior." She wasn't mad at me. It was the disease. So after a couple of years, I start doing the cross-country travel. I do long-distance caregiving, collaborating with my family to get her supported. In 2008, moved her out here to the Portland, Oregon area, to a care community, which I had wanted her to be in. I had started attending a support group, started getting counseling for all the stress, started looking at this care community. And she was less than a year, as expected, in assisted living, and then moved into memory care. She was there for about 4 years, and she passed away 11 years ago at age 83. So I would just want to mention real quick that, and I like what Dr. George was talking about, environment and things like that. It's not just age. She was in her early 70s. It's not just genetics with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. Nobody else in our family has it. But due to, and I'm not going to list them all, environmental and lifestyle choices, we think that some combination of them is why my mother got Alzheimer's. I don't have her risk factors, but I'm very aware of them and I'm proactive on my health. So the important thing is that after she passed away at age 83, I kept going to the support group. I thought I was just going to do more volunteer work as I approached my retirement from a completely unrelated state job. And I came across this concept of a caregiving support consultant, which is what I'm doing today. As she mentioned, I turned my personal loss into my passion in my mother's honor and memory. Now, men tend to be different kinds of caregivers than women. And in my case, I have no children, no grandchildren. So I was suddenly thrust into the caregiving role, the nurturing role. Fortunately, I think my mother brought out that strong side of me. And men tend not to look for counseling or go to therapy. I can do it myself. It's a job, it's a task, a series of projects to take care of their loved one. And I probably wasn't that much different. But the important thing is, whether you're a man or woman, and men more and more are stepping into this role. We are a microcosm of that here today. Used to be with dementia that about 1 out of every 5 caregivers for dementia was a man. Now it's like 1 out of every 3, and I see it in my support groups and my clients. But we can take on that role and do it like anybody else, and maybe in our own special way. The important thing is, when you're seeing that first diagnosis, those first signs, don't kick the can down the road. Don't go into denial. Don't shove it under the rug. Talk about it with your family. Seek support. Don't try to do it alone. Don't try to do it all by yourself. That's a recipe for burnout, for getting sick, or worse. Because many times, very often, the caregiver predeceases the person they're taking care of because they don't watch out for their own health. Make sure that they're safe. Make sure they're getting good care. Take care of the legal documents like power of attorney and health representative, because then you can't be their caregiver. You can't be their full advocate. You won't even be able to talk to the doctors. These are very important things to take care of. But Alzheimer's and other dementia are debilitating progressive diseases. There is still no known cure. We are getting closer. We're seeing early testing, like blood testing, to help diagnose earlier so you can get some treatment. You can take on better lifestyle, like good eating, good sleeping, keeping active physically, mentally, socially. But the important thing is going back to, don't try to do it yourself. Collaborate with your family. It doesn't have to fall upon a daughter or a niece or a daughter-in-law. Guys, we can do it. And we can do it in conjunction with the other family members. I have clients and support groups like 3-4 brothers, and they're teaming up together to take care of their parent. And that's a great example of what we can do. So again, I've turned my personal loss into my passion and my encore career in my mom's honor and memory. And today, as she mentioned, I'm a caregiving support consultant, a certified senior advisor, trained elder mediator, and try to help as many people as possible raise awareness, spread the word, know that you don't have to go it alone on this debilitating disease and the other ones that are similar. And just talk about it in your family, ask for support, and take care of yourself. Self-care is very important, as Dr. George talked about. One of the things I did, like I said, I went to the support group, got counseling, went for regular massages. It wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. I got away from my desk in that job, full-time job I had to get away from that desk to keep down my stress, because every time that phone rang from the care community, I was worried. Fortunately, they were good. They said, don't worry, your mother's fine, but she had a little, nick or something like that. So they're really good. So thank you again, Cheryl, for having me here. Thanks for listening to my story. It's an honor. And if you need to reach me, Cohen, C-O-H-E-N, CohenCaregivingSupport.com. Thank you for listening.
The Global Caregivers Network presents the first annual Global Male Caregivers Summit, coming your way April 13th, 2024, beginning at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Register on Eventbrite to hear from the most amazing and powerfully inspiring men as they share caregiving from the male perspective. Grab your ticket today and we'll see you there.